Hello everyone, how's it going? Now in this video, I'll be covering the topic of guilt a bit more. Now anyone who's followed my recovery journey, anyone who speaks to me, anyone who I coach, knows that I dealt with chronic guilt quite severely. All the taboo related themes, the real events, the false memories, the harm OCD, the POCDs, the cheating OCDs, anything where OCD could latch to guilt, the driving, hit and run OCD, that was a big one for me. Anywhere where you feel in limbo, you feel like you just can't be let off the hook. Working something out feels just out of reach, okay? So with guilt, it's the reason you try and work things out with rumination and analysing and scanning the past and trying to get an answer is because that certainty that OCD just places just out of reach. You can't quite work it out. So you go down the rabbit hole trying to find that missing piece of the puzzle, if you wish, just trying to get the answer because you think if I just obtain the answer, then I'll be at peace. Then I will be guilt-free. Then I'll be anxiety-free. Then I can go and live my life to the full. That is a bluff. That is an illusion. Okay, OCD keeps moving the goalposts a bit further. Next, go on, just work that one out. Go on, do that. And then the more you go down that rabbit hole, the more you go down and spiraling, because OCD will keep swishing up, and just as much you get it, it'll pull it away from under your feet, and that's how it feels. And I was down that rabbit hole for years, replaying the past. From the minute I woke up, I thought, right, I can just work this out. And look, the thing with guilt, I knew I couldn't work it out, but it feels so enticing. It feels you're nearly there, Sam. Just keep trying to work it out. Keep trying to replay it from a different angle, just analyse a bit more, just review it a bit more, and you'll get an answer. Go on, you're nearly there, keep going, you get an answer. And OCD's keeping you on, just pulling you along. Come on, keep going. You feel like you're going to get there, boom, switches up, different angle, and it'll keep you down that chronic guilt cycle. Okay, where you feel like you're going to get there, instead of actually putting your attention towards unconditional acceptance, looking at your fears, disputing your irrational beliefs, all the work that's actually going to get you to a better and emotionally healthier place, you go down the rabbit hole of completely putting your attention in the wrong place of working out, because you'll never be able to do that. Okay, so the sooner you realise that, and I hope you're watching this video and realise that, yep, I've been trying to work out for years, Sam, but it's not getting me anywhere. Okay, and we can guide you through that. Please email phil@ocdrecovery.com if you need help with the coaches here. So you've got me, Sam, you've got Rob, you've got Nick, you've got Mom, and you've got Gemma. We can help guide you through that, especially real event false memory, and how we can go towards more unconditional self-acceptance around real event false memory OCD. So, guilt. Now, why does guilt happen? What does it stem from? It stems from many different irrational beliefs that we tell ourselves, many statements that we tell ourselves, many bold statements, that internal dialogue that we have in our minds. So, for example, things shouldn't have been this way. I mustn't have done that. Okay? So it's that. So things shouldn't have happened like that. Things shouldn't have played out that way. I shouldn't have done such a thing. I must not have done that. I should have known better. I should not have acted in that way. Okay? And this is why, look for the shoulds, look for the musts. Okay? Very important things to think about with our rational beliefs. Look for the shoulds, look for the musts. Things shouldn't have been that way. Life shouldn't have planned out like that. I shouldn't have done that. I must not have acted that way. Okay? It also stems from the undeservingness, something that I speak about very often in my videos, because I was caught up in the undeserving cycle for years. That self-punishing. Everything that I ever did, I was in that self-destructive cycle. No, it doesn't matter. Life's meaningless. Life isn't worthwhile. I'm bad. I'm worthless. I don't deserve to be let off the hook ever. I deserve to be punished for the rest of my life. What's the point of even doing anything that I enjoy? I've done this thing in the past. I had this intrusive thought. I had this urge. I've got this intrusive name stuck. I've got this intrusive image stuck. I deserve to be punished for eternity, for the rest of my living days on this planet Earth. That was the kind of language that I was using. No wonder I felt so chronically guilty. No wonder I felt very depressed. No wonder I felt so demotivated and deflated at times, because everything felt meaningless. Okay? You've really got to break down the undeservingness concept and why that doesn't exist. Okay? Even if you've done this thing that OCD is convincing you that you've done, Okay, OCD twists things, it manipulates things, it can also suggest things, that's what it does. But to get over this, let's say, okay, OCD, let's say this thing in the past was real. Let's say it happened. Okay, maybe it did happen, maybe it's a real event, maybe it did happen, okay? There's no point trying to work out whether it's real or false, that won't get us anywhere. And that leads you further down that rabbit hole that I was talking about. So let's take a step back and say, it was real, this thing happened. How can I learn to A, make peace with that? That doesn't mean agree, doesn't mean justify, doesn't mean support, doesn't mean excuse. You can still condemn something, you can still regret something, you can strongly dislike and hate something. Okay, but the problem is when you say, if I have done something that I do not like, that I deem as immoral, that is illegal, that is wrong, that is bad, I am then undeserving, and I shouldn't have done such a thing. It shouldn't have panned out like that. That shouldn't have happened in life. That just shouldn't have been that way. That is what fuels the guilt. So you then jump to the irrational undeservingness cycle. Because let's say somebody is punished for their actions, okay, and rightly so. If somebody does something that's wrong, that's against the law, commits a heinous crime, then they are punished for that action, because you need to deter that kind of behaviour, rightly so. Okay, hence why prisons exist, okay? But where the guilt sufferer goes wrong is they then say, well, I sentence myself to a lifetime of guilt by sharpening my irrational beliefs and stabbing myself in the heart, using their rational beliefs like a dagger, and gone, boom, I then deserve to be punished. I never deserve to be let off the hook, ever. I deserve total self-destruction. I deserve to be tortured. I deserve that inner torturous cycle. I can't ever have a second's peace. I can't ever relax. I can't ever be happy. I can't have any enjoyment. Excitement must not happen to me. And that is the cycle that we find ourselves down. Now, even if it doesn't seem that obvious, okay, because when I was really digging deep with my undeservingness and the guilt cycle that I was in, some beliefs I was holding didn't seem that obvious. It didn't seem that blatant. But when I really looked, there was a lot of underlying beliefs. And I was saying, well, if I've done that, therefore I am then undeserving. So I wasn't just walking around saying, I'm undeserving, I'm the worst person ever. Oh my God, look at me, I'm the worst person ever to exist. I wasn't saying that, okay? But deep down, these beliefs can be quite hidden. They can be quite irrational. So they are irrational, and they can be very subtle as well. Okay, so really try and uproot them. Really try and pull them out and go, right, why am I feeling guilty? You're not just feeling guilty for no reason. Okay, healthy guilt, healthy regret stems from a desire and a want to not do bad, to not do wrong. That's fine, because you're not trying to eradicate, you're not trying to eliminate every healthy negative feeling. Okay, if I do wrong, if I do an act that I disagree with, if I make a mistake, I want healthy regret. I want healthy level of guilt, because then I can change from that behaviour, I can learn, see why I went so wrong, and aim to not do it again. Therefore, that healthy regret is good. Okay, so I don't want to eradicate that, because if I eradicated that, A, I'd be a robot, B, I wouldn't be responsible for my bad actions, which isn't good, and C, then I'm not going to be able to learn from that behaviour, because I'll just say, well, I feel nothing at all, I don't even know that I've done wrong, what do I do? You're not trying to become a robot here, okay? So ultimately, you want the healthy feelings, but the problem is, and we all know this too well, is when you jump from the healthy feeling to the unhealthy negative feeling of chronic guilt, depression, anxiety, shame, okay? And that stems from not just having a want and desire to not do wrong, okay? Not just wanting to act morally, not just desiring to act legally. Of course we want to do that, okay? But then what happens if we then act immorally? What happens if we make a mistake? What happens if we did something 5 years ago that we now condemn? If you are saying, well, I must not have done that. That shouldn't have happened. I am terrible for doing so. How can I have done such a thing? How dare I? I am now the worst person ever to exist on this planet. I know I'm being extreme, but that's sometimes how it feels with OCD. At my worst, it felt like I was the worst human being on planet Earth. Okay, just for having an intrusive thought, it felt that way. Okay, so you can't try and say, oh yeah, I'm not that bad. It's just, no, because those you go, nope, it will firmly grip in that internal guilt vice, how it feels locked in your brain. No, You will not be let off the hook. I don't give a shit if it's just a thought. I don't give a shit if you were 12. I don't give a shit if you were drunk. You've done this thing. You deserve to be punished for the rest of your life. And that's how it feels, okay? Until we start gradually letting ourselves off the hook, that isn't agreement. That's not just saying, yeah, fuck it. I may have broke the law, but it's fine. Who gives a shit? No, because I still want you being accountable for breaking the law. Therefore, learning from that and aiming, doing all you can not to do that again, because you don't want to break the law. You don't want to act immorally. That is a healthy desire. That's a healthy preference. Great. But the problem is when you're demanding that you must not have done that. You're saying you are the worst person ever and you are deserving for doing that. That is what fuels the guilt, the panic, the shame and anxiety. And those kind of feelings actually hinder you from changing behavior. If you're just caught up in a chronic guilt cycle, you are in no space. You are in no state of mind to actually learn from that mistake and then better it and not improve and not do it again, because you are just in that self-defeating cycle, that self-beating yourself up, berating yourself over the head with that metaphorical stick. Boom, you're terrible, you're awful, you're terrible, you're terrible, worst person ever. You're not going to be in a healthy position to change because you lose all motivation for the future. You wouldn't give a shit. You know, myself and many people that I speak to in a chronic guilt cycle, when I was stuck in this guilt cycle, I was in that self-neglect where I didn't give a shit. My weight went through the roof, right? My alcohol intake went through the roof, okay? All unhealthy addictive behaviours increased, okay? I didn't give a shit about my future. My career, I remember one point when I was really stuck, I gave up the accountancy course that I was studying because I just didn't give a shit. I was so undeserving. I thought, wow, even if I pass this test, who the fuck cares? Why does it matter? Because I've done this thing in the past, and that's how it feels. Any self-interest, any other interest, any hobby, any just life interest, anything that you can explore, anything you can get absorbed by, anything you can get absorbed by the challenge of overcoming, just feels completely numb and meaningless with guilt, because it's like, well, no, you've done this thing. You are sentenced to a lifetime of guilt. No matter what you do, you will never be let off the hook, ever. No matter how you healthily distract yourself, any distraction, no, never, never. That will prolong. That will continue. The more you rate yourself, the more you punish yourself, the more you hold those undeserving beliefs, the more you down yourself with, I'm bad, I'm worthless, I'm no good, I'm the worst person ever. You won't suddenly get relief if you keep telling yourself that, okay? That is not just excusing any behaviour. Even if you have done wrong, even if there's a real event, false memory, no matter what it is, real event, false memory, doesn't matter. Even if you strongly condemn that action, right? Your guilt stems from you jumping from that action to rating you, okay? This book here is an absolute life changer, okay? This book saved my life, The Myth of Self-Esteem by Albert Ellis. He breaks down why humans cannot rate themselves and why self-esteem is the greatest emotional disturbance known to man, known to humans, because we constantly chase that high self-worth, that high self-esteem. But what happens if we did wrong? What happens if we make a mistake? Then what? Then we come crumbling down, and crash. Okay, that's what tends to happen, right? Instead, when we start to adopt and go down the unconditional acceptance approach, then even if we do wrong, that is not excusing wrong behaviour. That's not just saying, I don't give a shit, I can do wrong. No, that is the common misconception. That is not true, okay? With unconditional acceptance, I am so driven now to do well. I don't just go, I'll do wrong, who gives a shit? No, I really do not want to do wrong. But even if I do, and even if I make a mistake, because I will, because I'm fallible, and I'm imperfect, and I'm a human, and I'm a professional mistake maker, this is how humans evolve, this is how we adapt and learn, I'm not then beating myself up, so I can quickly learn from that mistake and move on and improve in the future, therefore achieve my goals, or certainly go towards achieving my goals and maintain happiness and get some kind of enjoyment out of things and doing things that I want to do, and not just doing it because I'm doing it for sort of other people, i.e. people pleasing and so on, okay? So I can't highlight that enough. Guilt stems from conditional acceptance, only accepting ourselves if we do well, if we don't do wrong, if we're approved by many people. Of course, please strive for approval, please strive for acceptance, please strive for people's love and respect, of course, okay? But think, if you don't get that, if someone rejects you, if you go crumbling down the guilt cycle and the depression cycle, that stems from your conditional beliefs, which can be changed. Okay, ultimately, when you apply RBT and unconditional acceptance, you're putting the key to your mental health in your hands by seeing, well, it's my perception which is disturbing me. Not their rejection, it's my perception, okay? It's how I'm rating myself. It's my conditional self-acceptance which is fueling the guilt, not their rejection. Not the thing that I've done, not the thing that OCD is convincing me that I've done. It's me and how I'm viewing myself and my perception of myself, how I'm rating myself, how my undeservingness concept works, and so on. Okay? Very important points. If you're stuck with chronic guilt and shame, you are not alone, okay? You're not broken. You're not trapped. I know it feels that way, but you're not trapped. You're not treatment resistant. You can get better. It takes time, but please reach out for help, because guilt, I know how it feels. It feels like a burden. You feel completely weighed down. Anything that you do is like nothing matters. No matter how I try to distract myself, it was like, nope, you've done this. You are punished to a lifetime of guilt for the rest of your life. Okay, think how lucky you are to be watching this video, knowing there is hope, knowing you can get better. Okay, you've got to put in the work, yes, but you can get better. I am now guilt-free. Okay, there's no chronic guilt. There is no chronic anxiety. There is no chronic shame. You can get better. Please email phil@ocdrecovery.com to get in touch with one of the coaches here. Like I say, me, Sam, Rob, Nick, Momin and Gemma, we can all help you navigate through the guilt cycle to living a lifetime of recovery, that robust recovery, and being guilt and anxiety free.